Great evening, everyone. Great evening. Welcome to Back to the Basics with your BYOB worldwide family. We are excited to be on with you tonight. As you join us, drop it in the chat where you're joining us from and your affirmations. We definitely want to be intentional in everything that we do. You know what our affirmations are, our basic affirmations. I am a BYOB master trader. I am the signal. I am 777. All my trades end in profit. That's exactly what we want to affirm daily. And we want to make sure that we never take anything away from it. And then you can always add to it, but never take away. Where are we calling in from? Hello from Cleveland. Welcome. Good evening from Toledo. Welcome to the call. Welcome to the Zoom line. Good evening from Cleveland. Good evening from Minnesota. Great evening from Jacksonville. As you join us, drop it in the chat. Great evening from Conyers, Georgia. Great evening from Essex, UK. Worldwide. Great evening from Milwaukee, Virginia. Milwaukee again. Drop it in the chat where you're joining us from. Great evening from Milwaukee. Go to your social media platforms. Make sure you share, you like, you invite, promote for folks to get on this line because the information, if taken seriously, will be priceless. We just celebrated Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday, which was on the 15th, recognized yesterday. And we know for a fact that because of his vision, his commitment, great evening from Cleveland, we are able to exercise the right to be our own bank. And then if you study further, you understand that it wasn't because of the civil rights movement that Dr. King was assassinated. It was because of his voice for economic equity, equality. And so now, good evening from Orlando. We are the dream. So I want you to drop that in the chat. We are the dream. And if you're new to the call, I want you to drop a 111 in the chat. If this is your first time, drop a 111 in the chat. Great evening from Cleveland for this Power Pack Tuesday. We did have a Power Pack Tuesday this morning. We had phenomenal training all the way from the UK and Milwaukee. So you all know that we are BYOB worldwide. 111, good evening from Cleveland. Yes, we are the dream. We are the dream. Absolutely. BYOB, we are the dream. So let's not take what we have for granted, ladies and gentlemen. Let's make sure that we are always grateful, thankful, and appreciative for being in this moment in time. And sometimes when you're creating history, you don't realize it, but that is exactly what we're doing. And so you want to make sure that you take full advantage. Great evening from Jacksonville. Great evening. Full advantage of this BYOB opportunity. Think of the 5 people that you want to get wealthy with and invite them to tune in tonight so that they can understand the vision, they can understand the leadership, and they can understand the strategy. So we're going to get right into the information. And before we do, look at this slide, you guys. I am so excited. We just came off of a Power Pack weekend. We just left Cleveland, Ohio. Cleveland is on fire. I mean, Mr. Rogers brought the heat, brought the fire to Ohio. And then back in Jacksonville, we had none other than the trade whisperer, Miss Dyer, along with the leadership from Jacksonville, holding down the fort there. And so look at what's happening next month. We are expanding, accelerating and expanding. So we are going to have 4 events next month. Who do you know in the United Kingdom? Who do you know in Cleveland? Who do you know in Milwaukee? Who do you know in Jacksonville? So we want to make sure that we use social media as our marketing platform so we can connect with those individuals in these markets so we can push our agenda forward. And that is being your own bank and equipping others to do the same. So we are so excited about what's going on. We know that any great team of leaders, they create their replacement. they create their replacement. And so you want to recognize what's happening with the Be Your Own Bank movement. We're moving and accelerating and expanding. So let's talk about how it all began. Let's talk about the BYOB vision and the dream team, the mastermind team that we have in place. It all started in January 4 years ago. We celebrated our 4th year anniversary this day last week, and we're still excited and flying high, starting a new year, starting the 4th year anniversary. And we also had our tour this weekend, right on the brink of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday celebration. So it's been a great 2022, and we know it's going to get even better. But let's talk about how this all began. It began in the mind and the heart of the visionary, Mr. Gerald D. Rogers. See, because he has a huge heart, because he's always thinking about making a difference, because he's always thinking about making an impact, then the BYOB movement was born. January, 4 years ago, January the 11th of 2018. What were you doing at that moment in time? On that date, what were you doing? Well, this was being born, and you were in mind. We didn't know the faces, but now we do. The visionary sat down at the table with Ms. Tasha M. Dyer and talked about bringing something to light that had been hidden in plain sight. What do I mean by that? The banks that we do business with, they take our money. They then multiply it, but they don't share it. These are things that are done behind the scenes. And so Mr. Rogers, almost for the past 26 years, his background, investment banking, allowed for him to see what was going on behind the scenes. It allowed for him to understand that there was a way where the average person could make big bank moves. And he's doing just that every single day. He's a business success coach and mentor. I'm privileged to say he's my personal coach and mentor. We talk several times a day, and he's always getting my mind right. And then he has a background in mortgage lending, both in the residential and commercial space, and then real estate developer as well. He's a minister. I could go on, but you can feel the pulse behind the BYOB movement because of the visionary, Mr. Gerald D. Rogers. And then what did Miss Tasha M. Dyer do? She came and she just lit the movement on fire as the trade whisperer with her commitment, her consistency, and her generosity for sharing her strategy that's copywritten that she did not have to share. She could have just rode off into the sunset, trading her heart away, compounding her way to billions. But what does she do? She's gotten up every morning for the past 4 years, Monday through Thursday, to ensure that she equips the next generation and the next generation. She is the creator of this simple BYOB cash out strategy. She has a strong background because she's a phenomenal woman, a retired major from the U.S. Army, a licensed financial advisor, a real estate professional. She holds 2 MBAs, ladies and gentlemen. She's received countless awards. She's a mom. She's a grandmother. But guess what? She makes no excuses whatsoever. She sacrifices her time, her information, her mindset, her knowledge, and she shares it with us so that we can carry this vision forward. And then we have none other than Dr. Craig Bythewood, the finance doctor, holds his PhD in finance and economics. He's been a consultant to millionaires time and time again. He's been a CFO himself. What do I mean by a consultant to millionaires? CEOs and CFOs of Fortune 500 companies came to him to get advice on how to make sure that they accelerate their businesses. He's a professor. He's a single father, committed to his 3 daughters, a girls basketball coach. Why? Because his girls play basketball. He wants to be involved in every aspect of their life, but he avails his knowledge to us to simplify topics that have been made difficult on purpose, intentionally, so that there could be a separation of classes. But now guess what we're doing? We're bridging the gap because of the BYOB Dream Team, mastermind team that you see right here before us. that laid the foundation for us to follow. And then we know that the mark of a great leader is to find their replacement. So this is the second generation of educators in the BYOB movement. And we have individuals from all walks of life, project managers, pastors, financial professionals, entrepreneurs. So we touch on every area of this space so that we can have specialized knowledge as well. Now, guess what? We now have a third generation of educators as well. Introducing Nicole Morgan Walker, the wealth preservationist. We have Dr. Derek Kenner, clear cut is what we call him. We have Victoria Turner, the trade queen. We have Mrs. Evelyn Graham, queen of the charts, and Mr. Genesis Patton, the market mastery maker. He makes it rain in the market. And ladies and gentlemen, collectively, we have all the bases covered. So just know soon there'll be a fourth generation and a fifth generation as we go on to walk out our vision, because we are the largest economic empowerment movement in the history of mankind. Now, when you are part of a movement, when you're creating history, sometimes you don't realize the magnitude of what's being done. But just think about it. We're the only economic empowerment movement happening right now, the largest, and we're making history. See, without the civil rights movement, we wouldn't have the right to be our own bank. So we are the dream, we're carrying it forward, and our vision is crystal clear: to impact and educate, enroll, learn, and profit. Individuals, families from all over the world will enroll, learn, and profit 2 million strong by March 28, 2022. We know with all of us who are committed to the vision, all of us who are committed to the movement, when we put our heads down starting today, this dream, this vision will be realized. Now, how does it start? It starts from within. We talk about be, do, have. You have to become before you can do, and then you will have, right? So be, do, have in that order. You have to be what you want right now. That means it starts in your mind. The mind's eye can see further than your actual eye. So what we do is we start our day by fueling ourselves with prayer, affirmations, meditation. We want to surround ourselves with the right people. We want to turn off the news, turn on the financial news, Bloomberg, so that we can understand the financial impact. We know that everything moves with capital. We live in a capitalistic society. Without capital, we are not free. But we first have to free our minds. We have to unclutter. We have to remove some of the baggage that we carry around, the limited thoughts, the limited self-talk. So we start with our affirmations so that we can pour good things in. I am a BYOB master trader. I am the signal. All my trades end in profit. I'm an educated trader. I'm a profitable trader. I am 777. That means I'm cashing out constantly. I'm anointed for wealth. I am a billionaire. It's our birthright. We were designed to create. We were designed to understand that there is no limit. There is no lack. So a positive mind creates positive vibes. Positive vibes lead to a positive life. So we are committed to vibrating high within the BYOB movement, and that is how we are able to attract some of the smartest, some of the brightest, some of the most committed and consistent individuals who are here to serve and to impact. Now, with anything you do, you need a strong foundation. If you're building a house, you need a strong foundation. And so with this is no different. This is an educational platform designed for you to have a strong foundation, because when that strong foundation is there, it's easy to build upon it. We want you to understand what happens in the market. We want you to understand the difference between investing and trading. See, when you're investing, you're purchasing something, you're holding on to it and hoping the price of that investment, that asset that you invested within, increases in value. When it goes down in value, when it decreases in value, most people get nervous. That's not the case in this platform. With BYOB, we're teaching you how to analyze the market. So whether price goes up, whether price goes down, either way, we compound. So it doesn't matter to us. But what it starts with is understanding how to analyze the market, how to read the charts. So we want you to understand these very important terms. Now, when you're in class, you want to be active. So get your notebooks out, get some paper, a pen out, because to think is to put it in ink. When you take notes, then you're confirming what you already know, or you're jotting down something that you need to know. So I don't care how many times I hear information, I'm constantly writing new notes, because then I gain different or a brand new perspective. So number one, you want to understand that we use indicators. Indicators are tools used in the charts to predict future prices. Everything around us has an indicator. For example, if you look at a space heater and it's red, that's an indication that it's hot, right? If you're driving down the street and you have a green light, that's an indication to go. So we use indicators to help direct our skill set in the market. As we're analyzing price of assets, we use the following three indicators. The first is called the stochastic. The stochastic is our leading indicator. That simply means that this is what we direct our eyesight to first when we're analyzing price in the market. It measures the momentum of price, and it gives clues about trend shifts. It's used to indicate when an asset moves into an overbought or an oversold position. So when we pull up the chart, the vibrata, I'll point out what overbought and oversold looks like, and I'll show you what the stochastic looks like as well. Hikanashi candles, these are our lagging indicators. They're trend candles that help identify whether the market is pushing an asset's value up, down, or whether it's moving sideways. See, price is either moving up, down, or sideways. So we want to make sure that you understand what to look for while analyzing price in the market. And then you have the parabolic stop and reverse. It's called the PSAR. It is our lagging indicator as well. So we have one leading and two lagging indicators. This is the one that we look at first, and then the candles, then the PSAR. So the PSAR is actually a small cross, but it's so small it looks like a dot that outlines the candles, the Hikanashi candles. And the PSAR is used to determine the stop loss, the entry, and or exit points for a trade. So if you're new to this call, you want to take notes and understand, gain an understanding, right? If you're a veteran, then you're listening to this as though you're going to eventually be teaching someone the information. It's all about perspective and value. So here are the 3 steps to this BYOB cash out copywritten strategy created by the trade whisperer, Ms. Tasha M. Dyer. When it all began, it was housed in the IML web analyzer that's now called the Vibrata. And here are the 3 simple steps to mastery. Now, I remember a few years ago, a friend of mine and we went to a trading class, we thought, for a weekend. I won't even tell you how much we spent for the weekend, thinking we were going to walk out understanding how to trade. We walked out more confused and figured out it was just a weekend sales meeting. It was a commercial. They were selling us on enrolling in a school that was 6 figures. So ladies and gentlemen, tonight, when you leave this call, you'll be able to understand how to take a look at a chart and to enter a trade. And so we're excited about the simplicity of this strategy. So think of it as a recipe. You have to follow the instructions to the letter in order to get the finished product, right? The finished product here is profit. So what you want to do is follow the steps. Don't deviate. Don't overthink the steps. Don't add to it. Don't take anything away, and you will compound your way to wealth. So number one, we talked about it. Review the stochastic. Number two, review the Hikinashi candles. Number three, review the location of the PSAR, the parabolic stop and reverse. So number one, we're going to talk about sell. When we refer to the word sell as analyst, that means that price is decreasing in value on the chart that we're looking at. We're not selling anything. We are watching the results of the market movers selling. Thereby, the price of whatever we're analyzing is decreasing. So we're not selling, we're watching the sellers of the market affect the price of the asset that we're analyzing. In this case, as beginners, our focus is on foreign exchange pairs. So step number one, you identify the stochastic, which looks like a red and a blue line, and it travels up and down around the 80 and 20 marker within the space provided on the chart, which I'll show you. So when the blue line crosses over the red line in a downward position, and the blue line is underneath the red line, then that means that price is dropping. That means that price is overbought. It reached a high point, and now it's turning around and decreasing in value. So then you look at and then when the line is above the 80 marker, that represents a stronger sell when it turns around and starts heading towards the 20 marker, which I'll show you. Number two, there'll be a red candle with a flat top. So what do we mean by a flat top? Candles typically have a wick sticking out of the top of it, but we're looking for a red candle that has a flat top. This indicates that there's a strong sale happening. When there's a flat top, it indicates a strong sale happening when you see a red candle with a flat top. When a wick begins to form on the top of the candle, it indicates that there is a trend reversal coming. That means that price is currently selling, but once you see a wick, then that means price will begin to increase instead of decrease. Number three is the PSAR. The parabolic stop and reverse. It's above the candles, and this adds extra confirmation for a stronger sale. It pushes the candle in the direction that it's heading into. So when you see a PSAR above the red candle, that means it's an extra push down in price, and that adds for extra confirmation for us to be able to enter a trade when there's liquidity and momentum in the market. Now, when we talk about buying, we're not purchasing anything. We're watching the market makers, the movers that move price based upon them buying foreign exchange pairs, then the price is increasing in value. So when you look at the stochastic for a buy, step number one, the blue and the red line is around the bottom or the 20 marker, and then it's pointing up towards the 80. So that means price reached an all-time low, and now it's turning around and it's increasing. So here we are. We look for the blue line to cross over the red in an upward position. And when those lines are below the 20 marker, it represents a stronger buy because it's more momentum to push it up the lower it gets. Step number two, you have a green candle with a flat bottom. So this indicates a strong buy when you have a flat bottom, meaning there's no wick coming out of the bottom of the candle. However, when a wick begins to form on the bottom of the candle, it indicates that a trend reversal is coming. So when you begin to see the longer wicks, then you know, price is going to be turning around and going in the opposite direction. Step number three is the PSAR. When you see that dot below the green candle with the flat bottom, that adds for extra confirmation. So this is the BYOB cash out 1, 2, 3. So you want to make sure that you stick to the recipe, right? We just came out of the holidays. I know there was some cooking going on. There was some sweet potato pies. There was some German chocolate cakes, right? So don't deviate when you make Christmas cookies. You stick to the recipe. You have to have baking soda or powder in that recipe, or the cookies will be hard as a rock. So you definitely don't want to deviate from the strategy. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to pull up the vibrata so that I can point out those indicators that we just talked about, because I know that most people are visual learners. So you can read about something, but it's not until you see it that it becomes real for you. So what I'm going to do is pull up the vibrata, formerly known as the web analyzer, and we're going to look at a clean chart so that you can understand what to look for when you're in the market. Now let's talk about the vibrata. The vibrata is a tool only found in this iMarkets Academy. So when you enroll, not only do you enroll with a continuous education platform, but you have access to tools that are used by big banks of the world in order to help them analyze the market as precisely as possible. And that's what we can do when we have access to these tools. Now, I'm bragging because the visionary is the spokesperson of the vibrata. That means the gentleman who designed the web analyzer, he conferred with Mr. Rogers to ensure that the tool would be what we needed to compare us to the big banks of the world and the tools that are used behind the scenes in the big banks. And so when you click on the vibrata, when you pull it up, the first person you see is Mr. Gerald D. Rogers endorsing the vibrata. Now, let me tell you how powerful that is. This tool, the vibrata, is used in 120 different countries. So that means there are millions upon millions of people accessing this tool daily. And they understand that when they see Mr. Rogers, that that's an authority that they're seeing in this space. And we have an opportunity to be a part of his movement that he created. So I'm grateful. You all should be too. If you're grateful for being a part of this phenomenal movement, I want you to drop a 555 in the chat. Drop a 555 in the chat to show our gratitude. See, I was taught by one of my mentors a long time ago that anything above nothing is a blessing. Anything above nothing is a blessing. I'm sorry, you all, I'm talking, you can't even see the chart. Anything above nothing is a blessing. So we're excited to just be a part of this movement. All right, so when we open up the vibrata, drop a 777 in the chat if you can see the vibrata now. Drop a great, excellent. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so here we are. We're gonna look at this clean chart. And then we're gonna click on EURCAD. It stands for the euro versus the Canadian dollar. So what you see here are triggers in the market. What a lot of people do is they look for signals, and signals don't allow for you to understand what's going on. It's like, you know, somebody giving you a fish instead of teaching you how to fish. So when you get these triggers are called when there's a correction of price in the market, which means that all you want to do is make sure that you pay attention to the triggers, because there's movement as it relates to these foreign exchange pairs when a trigger occurs. For example, this says a potential sale on EURCAD on the 5-minute chart. This signal happened 3 minutes ago. So that means that although there was a sale taking place, there was a correction where price began to increase, but then it's going to turn around and continue selling. That's a probability. So that's a probability that you be able to take a sale after you analyze the market with the BYOB cash out strategy. So you never want to just jump in a trade and take the trade based upon a trigger. what you want to do is understand that this is just like somebody pulling your coattail saying, guess what? You probably want to take a look at this currency pair because you may be able to get a good trade set up based upon the fact that it's correcting on the 5-minute chart. So that is what triggers do. They alert you. So this is a potential sale with the euro versus the Canadian dollar on the 5-minute chart. That's what M5 stands for. Called at a particular price. So this is the price where the trigger happened. And if you look over to the right, you have the price listed here. This is the actual price in bold down here. The trigger happened at this particular price. This is the universal time. This is your local time here. So at 8:25 Central Time, which is my local time, that is when the trigger appeared here in the vibrata. And 5 minutes has passed since the trigger occurred. All right. So we want to make sure you understand that these triggers help you to condense time frames because it's sharing with you what to look for in the market. Now at the top of the chart, well, let me go back a step further. To access this vibrata, all you have to do is to go to imlwebanalyzer.com. You go to imlwebanalyzer.com and you type in your username and password from the Academy, and it'll bring you into this version of the vibrata. When you get into it for the first time, what you're going to do is you're going to click down here where it says strategy, because it won't look like this when you click on it at the first time. You'll see 3 different layers of different indicators other than the ones we use with this strategy. So you got to click next to strategy. It'll take you to this page. On this page, you'll see where it says pick a strategy. So you're going to click on these drop down arrows right here. And you see where it says BYOB cash out here. Click there. And then you want it, the cha-ching happens when an alert or a trigger appears. So you can turn that on. It sounds like a cash register, or I'm going to leave it off so it's not a distraction during the class. You can choose the dark mode or the light mode. And so when the dark mode is on, like you saw, or you can turn that off and it'll be a white background, whatever your eyes desire. And then the chart details show you that large price on the bottom right-hand corner that I showed you with the watch list and news. And so you can turn that on if you like that. The preferred language, you select English if that's your preferred language. And then what you want to do is save here. And then click up here to save settings and reload. So that is how you get the chart for the BYOB cash out strategy to appear on your screen. Any questions, comments, testimonies? For anyone who needs me to go over that again, or if you're good, drop a 111 in the chat. If that's clear, you know how to get to the strategy, drop a 111 in the chat. Excellent, love it, love it. Excellent. So this is about equipping yourself so that we can all equip others, right? So you want to be able to teach others where to go once they enroll. Okay, so now at the top here, you'll see your currency pair. So you have EUR, CAD here, and then you have a breakdown of what it means here. Now, if you wanted to click on EUR GBP, you simply click there. It was a trigger for that as well, and it will appear here, okay? Now here, you see the different charts. So there's the 1M, 30M, 1H, 5M. M stands for minute, H stands for hour. So as a basic, when you're learning the basics and you're new, you want to go in and highlight the 5-minute chart, the 15-minute, and the 1 hour. Let me show you what I did here. So right here, there's a drop down arrow. And there it shows, oh, Sorry, that's the wrong drop down arrow. This here is the drop down arrow, and it shows you the different charts that you can select. As a beginner, you just need to focus on the 5 minute, the 15, and the 1 hour. Keep it real simple until you learn the basics, okay? So then you'll see 5 minute, 15, and 1 hour here. And we always start our analysis on the 15-minute chart. So when it's highlighted in blue, that's the chart that you're on. Now, what does it mean, the 5 minute, the 15, and the 1 hour chart? It simply means that when each candle appears, every 5 minutes on the 5 minute chart, you have a new candle. Every 15 minutes on the 15-minute chart, you have a new candle. Every 1 hour on the 1 hour chart, you have a new candle, and the new candles appear furthest to the right, closest to the price. Now to the left, all of these candles that you see to the left of this candle here represents historical data. So we study the historical data because it allows for us to analyze where price is headed. All right. Now, where you see price here, you can double click here and click countdown to bar close, and you will see this timer right here. We are now on the 15-minute chart. This timer lets you know how many more minutes need to pass before a new candle appears. So every 15 minutes, a new candle will appear on the 15-minute chart. We currently have 8 minutes and 52 seconds before another candle will appear. Now, at the bottom, you have the time and then you have the date. Here you see which sessions are active. So here, the kangaroo represents the Australian market. This hut represents the Japanese market. So then you know what currency pairs, once you finish the academy, you'll understand what currency pairs are reflective of these two markets. All right. So now what I'm going to do is point out the BYOB cash out strategy, what to look for a buy and a sell. So here we go. I am going to show you this beautiful sale setup that we see here. So what we do first is we bring our attention to the bottom of the chart. At the bottom of the chart, you'll see the blue and the red line traveling in this purple rectangular area. At the top of it is the 80 marker. At the bottom is the 20 marker. So when you see the blue line and the red line above the 80, then what you're doing is you're waiting for it to curve down and begin to point down towards the 20 marker. This indicates that price has traveled from the bottom, which is the 20, all the way to the top. It reached a high point in price, and now price is beginning. So the buyers have been exhausted when price begins to dip or decrease. All right, so we're talking about a sell setup. This is how we're able to earn money when price decreases, because we're able to analyze the direction of price and where it's going. So when the blue line crosses over the red line and it ends up beneath the red line or to the left of the red line, pointing towards the 20, then you know that price is decreasing. The stochastic is your leading indicator. It's leading the way. So now you're going to look for a red candle with a flat top, and you need a PSAR above it. I'm going to make my PSAR a little bit bigger so that you can see what I'm referring to. So here we are. It's actually a small little cross that we look for. So although we have a red candle with a flat top here, there is no PSAR above it. So we would have to wait until we saw the PSAR move from the beneath the green candles and flip and end up above the red candle with a flat top. So we call this the PSAR flip, when it goes from traveling underneath the candles to above the candles. It flips. All right. So I'm going to put an arrow above the PSAR because we want to go and check the 1 hour chart and the 5-minute chart for confluence or agreement. So once you have, if you're taking notes, the 3 things that you must have on the 15-minute chart when you're looking for a sale or a decrease in price. Number 1, you look at the stochastic. It needs to be around the 80 marker, which is this dotted line at the top. Now, it doesn't have to be exactly on it. It could be a little bit under it or above it. But once the blue line crosses over the red and begins to travel downward towards the 20, the blue line is to the left of the red line or below it, then you know that price is dropping. You must see that on the 15-minute chart. So if you're taking notes, write 15-minute chart must-haves. Blue line crossing over the red, pointing down. The blue line is to the left of the red or underneath it. All right. Then you need a red candle with a flat top and a PSAR above that red candle. If you're with me, drop a 777 in the chat. If you're clear, drop a 777 in the chat. If you aren't, drop a question mark. Excellent, excellent, excellent. So that is what you look for on the 15-minute chart, which is the foundation. So we do have a question mark. I'm going to go over the must-haves one more time, but you definitely want to enroll in the academy. Make sure you're watching, the getting started and the basic video trainings that we have on YouTube. But number 1, blue line crossing over the red, pointing down. Number 2, red candle, flat top, and a PSAR above it. Those are the 3 things that you look for on the 15-minute chart. Those are the 3 things you look for on the 15-minute chart. All right. Now we're going to click on the 1-hour chart. We're going to go to the 1-hour chart and we're going to look for confluence. What do I look for on the 1-hour chart? We look for agreement. So the 2 things that you must have in order to have agreement for a sale on the 1-hour chart. So in your notes, write 1 hour, and then you need 2 must-haves, 2 things that you must have on the 1-hour chart. The stochastic, the blue line needs to cross over the red, pointing down towards the 20. The blue line is going to be underneath the red line or to the left of it, just like you see here, going down. Then you need a red candle. That's it. Any red candle, period. Don't add to what I just said. Don't ask any questions about the PSAR. You just need the stochastic pointing down and you need a red candle. All right. Now we don't have confluence here because this is a green candle. So we wouldn't take the trade until it lined up properly. So if this was here, if the arrow would have been, if the arrow would have been right here, we would have had confluence. Why? Because the blue and the red line are pointing down, and then you have a red candle. So that is what you look for on the 1-hour chart. That's what you look for on the 1-hour chart, just those 2 things. And then what do we look for on the 5-minute chart? So let's find our arrow on the 5-minute chart. I put the arrow there because we want to go to the same moment in time on all of the charts. So that's the purpose of having the arrow. It's what we use to determine what's happening on the other charts when we start our foundation analysis on the 15-minute chart. So what you look for on the 5-minute chart, you want the PSAR, or I'm sorry, the stochastic, the blue and the red line to be pointing down or to be going sideways around the 20. Here, we don't have that. Here, we have the blue line crossing over, kind of curving up, and we have a green candle. So we would not have confluence on the 5-minute chart. So we wouldn't take that trade on the 15-minute chart. We would need to see this, where you see the blue line and the red line pointing down towards the 20, and you have a nice red candle moving down. So when you have a candle that's small and pulling back like this means that price was dropping, but then it began to increase because the candle got smaller. So you want to pay attention to candles that are increasing in size versus getting smaller, because you don't want to enter the trade when you have a pullback or price going from dropping to raising. All right. So you need to have the stochastic pointing down or going sideways around the 20, and you need a red candle. That is what you need on the 5-minute chart for confluence. Now what we're going to do is we're going to identify a good setup for a buy. When price is increasing, what do you want to look for? So here we go. I'm going to go closest to price so I don't have to search far on the 5-minute. So here we go. Let's see. Let me pull the chart closer together. All right. Let's just use this for an example here. All right. You have the stochastic, the blue line crossing over the red pointing up, right? So this means that price is oversold. It reached a low and now it's turning around and increasing. So the blue line is crossing over the red line. Both are pointing up towards the 80, from the 20 to the 80. That's what you look at first for a good buy setup. Then you want a green candle with a flat bottom and a peace R underneath it. Let me make this a little bigger so you can see what I see. So you have a green candle, flat bottom here, but no peace R. This has a green candle with a wick underneath it. So that isn't what you want. You want this green candle with a flat bottom and the peace R. So that would be what you would be looking for on the 15-minute chart. The stochastic is still pointing up. So that is where you're going to put your arrow. So I'm going to grab an arrow from over here. I'm going to put it underneath the peace R. And then you notice the green candle with the flat bottom. So now what am I going to do? I'm going to check my 1-hour chart for agreement or confluence. So let me go here. I'm going to pull this over to the left, find my arrow. Let's see what we have. So notice the stochastic is pointing down and not up. We don't have confluence, so I wouldn't take the trade. What I would be looking for is the stochastic to be pointing up, like over here, and a green candle. That is what your two must-haves when you're looking for an entry for a buy or an increase in price. The stochastic needs to be pointing up and you need to have a green candle above it. Those are the only two things you would need. Here we don't have confluence because the stochastic is pointing down. Even though we have a green candle, the stochastic is the leading indicator. So you would not take that trade. This is what you would want to see. The stochastic pointing up in a green candle. All right, we don't see that here, so we wouldn't take the trade. Let's look to see what you should have on the 5-minute chart when you're looking for confluence for a buy on the 15, starting there. That's where we start our analysis. So now I'm going to look for my blue arrow pointing up. Looking for my blue arrow. Here we go. All right, so let's put our cursor right here. What do we see? Okay, so here the blue line crossed over the red. It's curving up. We got a green candle. All right, so this would be confluence on the 5-minute, but because the 1 hour wasn't in agreement, then you wouldn't take the trade. All right, all 3 charts have to be in alignment in order to execute the trade. Any questions, comments, or testimonies about identifying a setup for a buy? If you're with me, drop a 111 in the chat. 111 if it makes sense to you. Excellent, 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 excellent. And then, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you enroll in the academy if you're not enrolled so that you can understand the foundation, the foundational principles that allow for you to understand what we're showing you here live when we go over the vibrato. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to stop this share and I'm going to bring up the slideshow presentation again, because we want you all to understand how you're going to compound your way to 6 figures in 6 months. So you know what I want. This is my favorite part of the call, y'all. You know it's my favorite part of the call. I want you all to drop a 6, the letter N, and a 6 in the chat. A 6, the letter N, and a 6 in the chat. A 6, the letter N, and a 6 in the chat. A 6, the letter N, and a 6 in the chat. You know, I get excited about this. So this is the 8th wonder of the world, compounding interest. The 8th wonder of the world. The 8th wonder of the world, he who understands it earns it. He who does not pays it. So let me explain what that means. It means that we were conditioned to believe the American dream is what we should strive for. What am I talking about? You go to school. After high school, you go to college. Most people cannot afford college. So guess what? We got to take out student loans if we can't afford it, right? So that's our first experience of compounding out in our name, paying back these student loans with interest. Guess what? When I was in college, I was a freshman in college, I received pre-approved credit card applications. I didn't even have a job, but I got these pre-approved credit card applications. And guess what? You get your credit cards, you start buying things you don't need and can't afford. Now I got financial aid to pay back and credit card debt. So now when we start working, the first thing we need is a car. We need to get to work. So guess what? We're going to lease a car and we're going to pay interest on that lease, or we're going to finance a car and we're going to pay interest. So now I'm paying interest on my financial aid, the credit cards, and now the car that's getting me to work where I earn a linear income, right? A limited income, uncertain. So then guess what? The American dream is to purchase a house. Do most people pay cash for the house or do they get a mortgage? Drop a M if you believe most people get a mortgage versus paying in cash. Drop an M in the chat if you understand where this is going. So now I've got my financial aid. I'm compounding out. I've got my credit card debt. I'm compounding out. I've got my car loan or lease. I'm compounding out. Now the next dream is to get a mortgage and get a house that the bank owns until you pay it off. I'm compounding out again. So now guess who's making the money? The 5%ers that I'm borrowing this money from. They're compounding in. They understand the 8th wonder of the world because the majority of the population is paying interest for all the things I listed. They're compounding out, but those who have issued the loans, they're compounding in, right? So that is the 8th wonder of the world, compounding interest. Those who understand it earn it. He who does not pays it. We're going to make sure everybody on this line tonight understands how to compound your way to wealth. So here's our compounding chart. It can be found in our website, www.byobmovementllc.com. You click on files, and then you'll be able to download our compounding chart. This is just a snapshot of the chart because we always want to have access to the chart. So here we are, we have a screenshot. So once you have enrolled in the academy, once you have practiced in your demo account, and you've successfully taken several trades in a row, you know why the trades ended in profit in your play or your demo account, then it's time to start your live account. So when you start your live account, here's the suggested balance if you have a desire to compound your way to 6 figures in 6 months. Now, you have your starting balance of $500. For each trade, take 5% profit. Each trade, you're going to go for 10 pips. So to start, what you're going to do is set your lot size to 0.25. So what you want to recognize here is for every pip, right, you're going to earn, well, for 10 pips, you're going to earn $25. So for every pip, you're going to earn, for every 10 pips, you're going to earn $25. For every pip, you're going to earn $2.50. So you want to understand, okay, if I want 5% increase per trade, this document shows me what my lot size should be in order for 5% to get deposited into my broker account. So once you go through the academy, you will understand what lot sizes mean and how to calculate them without the chart. But this is just a tool that we offer so that it simplifies you and it saves you time when you're going after your 10 pips that will allow for you to compound your way to 6 figures in 6 months. So in every given month, there are 20 good trading days. Monday through Friday are good trading days. So after 20 successful trades, starting your account with a $500 balance, you will end up with $1,326.65. How many of you all can get excited about that type of return? Remember, when we are investing traditionally, if you're excited, drop an 888 in the chat. If 6 figures in 6 months excites you, I want you to drop an 888 in the chat. Here's why. We're taught if you have an IRA, a 401k, a CD, if you earn 10% a year, 10 to 14% a year, you're doing great. Well, we can do that in a day with this strategy. So that's the value behind what it is. So guess what? Take perfect trades. Wait for the perfect setups, right? If you can wait 40 years to retire and look forward to a Social Security check, surely you can give this 12 months to learn and master this skill so that you can compound your way to wealth. Now, here is the chart. Here's the 6 months to 6 figure chart. I want you to take a screenshot of this because this is your roadmap. This is what you want to internalize and visualize. See yourself depositing. See these deposits hitting your account. See these withdrawals taking place and what you're going to do with them, right? So after month 3, your balance is $3,519 to start. And at the end of the month, $93.39. At the end of month 4, $24,780. At the end of month 5, $65,750. At the end of month 6, $174,000 plus dollars. That is when you withdraw your 6 figures in 6 months. We are going to have just quit parties in July, or true 4th of July Independence Day celebration because of 6 figures in 6 months. Continue to compound your way, starting with $74,000, and you can end the year with this 8-figure amount in your account. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want you all to play with the numbers. Why? Numbers don't lie. So download that compounding chart, get familiar with it, and start your practicing. Complete your iMarkets Academy basics so that the first 10 hours will equip you to understand how to begin to practice, but always, always remain a student. So we want to teach you how to ride the wave of the market and stay connected with us. Here are resources. You want to make sure you get with the person who invited you on today. Make sure you have access to the resources. Take a screenshot right now. BYOB Movement LLC. That is where you can find the compounding chart. That is where you can find our calendar of events. That's where you can find our video of the presentation. It's a wealth of information and a store. Shop for your BYOB paraphernalia there. Our YouTube channel, Be Your Own Bank Movement, houses all of these recorded calls where you can go back in our archives and review. Text BYOB cash out to 904-567-0634 to stay connected and up to date on announcements that are sent via text message. Make sure you are a part of the Telegram chat. Make sure you understand how to add someone to the Telegram chat. If you don't, get with the person who's mentoring you and make sure they teach you how to add folks to the Telegram chat. We have a Clubhouse account, so download that app. Make sure you stay plugged into the Academy. Any professional career path that earns significant income requires continuous education. You have to remain relevant. And then never miss a Zoom event. Why? Because if you stay plugged in, you will stay turned on. And guess what? Membership has its privileges. We are going to give you a $200 certificate just for enrolling in the Academy. And then we give away gifts for those master traders who have 6 trades, 600 pips, 600 points, etc. in a month's time. So airfare, hotel stays, resort getaways. So how do you get that? You send an email to beyourownbankmovement@gmail.com with proof of enrollment or proof of trades. You must redeem your gift within 30 days of receiving it, but you have 2 years to use your voucher. There is a video on our website, BYOBmovementllc.com, that explains how you take advantage of these privileges. And guess what? Our business card is a debit card, ladies and gentlemen. We have the premier debit card that pays you for spending money, no setup fees, no minimum balance, no monthly fees. Deposit your payroll check every month and earn cash back on all purchases. So go to BYOBmovementworldwide.com, sign up for the debit card, and let us pay you for spending money. So that is the BYOB vision. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to turn this call over to a